of it. Are they warranted? Are they not? First, though, we want to strip away all the fiction. Go to the big picture. I spoke with Dr. Shweta Chakrabarti, a risk and behavioral scientist, because people are involved, at the Center for Climate and Security. Dr. Chakrabarti, Jay Inslee, on the second night of the Democratic debates, he had a lot of attention for his climate stance. And it's kind of the central thesis of his entire campaign. Why do you think he stood out so much?
So he is one of the few candidates that is really bold in recognizing the challenges that we are going to be facing as a global community with climate change. The planet is warming. He recognizes that. And he has a point-by-point plan that really rises to the challenge across all the different sectors in society, from health to national security to the economy. And that really sets him apart. He's miles ahead of the other candidates.
You're saying that this is not just about like, hey guys, let's bring the planet down 0.6 Celsius degrees. It's actually saying this is going to affect how many people are coming as refugees. This is how many people will starve.
Right. So the way that the Paris Accord was set up was that the recognition that if we don't maintain our global temperature, things were going to get really bad. And really bad case scenarios were going to be above 2 degrees Celsius. It's going to, no matter what, it's not going to be good if we don't stay where we are. But over 2 degrees Celsius, everything we're seeing now, including migrations of people and water scarcity issues, hurricanes, wildfires, all of these things are going to continue to increase in magnitude and in frequency as we warm, right? So we needed to keep the maximum worst case scenario under 2 degrees. Where we are right now, despite all the countries, not including the US, unfortunately, that signed on to the Paris Accords, we are on our way to 3-degree warming. So what's really critical to stem the flow of refugees, as you said, and so many of these other impacts, is to come up with a really bold plan and a really aggressive plan to get to that 2-degree commitment that we made in Paris.
Scientific consensus around the world when it comes to totally eliminating carbon emissions. Is it possible? Is that even advisable?
We need to get to a point where we are actually carbon negative. We need to suck out what is already in the atmosphere.
Is that possible?
We're working on it. It's not, we don't want to convince people that that is an option when it's not a viable option yet. And we cannot just count on those science and tech ideas that are not yet a viable reality. So all the tools still need to be on the table. We need to make sure we apply governance, policy, we need behavioral change. So I am holding out for those technologies to really become viable, and it will happen in the future, but let's not count on it.
When you see something like the heat waves in Europe, 106 degrees, 108 degrees, they're not accustomed to this. They're not equipped for this. I know you can never get anyone to say that a certain thing is attributable to a certain thing, but do you see a correlation there?
Yeah, and it's really, as a scientist, and my colleagues and I actually, when you prescribe to the scientific method, it's an oath that you take. So you cannot say that something is causal, because there's always a possibility that another alternative explanation will be found for it. That being said, this is equivalent to smoking causing lung cancer. We will never say we are 100% sure of that, but we know it. And the medical community knows it, scientists know it. There is no doubt in my mind that it is the same level of certainty, if not higher. In fact, a recent report just came out saying that we're over 99% consensus in the scientific community that there is a relationship between our carbon emissions behavior and climate change. And then those impacts actually play out as heat waves, as wildfires. And again, we're never going to say 100% that that's the cause, but it is more than understood from our community that that is what's happening.
Jay Inslee has a detailed plan focused on immediate action and a 10-year deadline to get rid of coal, plus create jobs to replace them. It's similar to some of the aspirations of the Green New Deal. Still, many people criticize that plan as being more aspirational than practical. We've been following this very closely, including at a recent protest in Chicago.
Green New Deal! Green New Deal!
It's a controversial proposal designed to fight climate change while still growing the economy. It's an idea progressives embrace and most conservatives dismiss. So now what for the Green New Deal?
I'm in all